Okay, it will be okay. You all please unmute. Some of them are you having the voice. Whenever I ask any question, then you can. Or otherwise, keep quiet. Then it will be good to listen all. Okay. Okay, then you may give the thumb or whatever it is. Huh? Okay. Yeah, yeah, we are going to discuss about the lichens. We all know very well about the lichen. The lichens, which are the symbiotic association, not only the single organ. It is not the single organ. It is the association of algae and fungi. You all please mute. Whenever I ask the question, you please respond. But remaining time, you please keep quiet. Okay. Okay. It should be discussion, not only the one way. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we all know the lichens of the symbiotic association. The symbiotic association of algae and fungi. Algae are the algae are the
Photosynthesis.
algae are thallophytes, but algae are autotroph, fungi are
Heterotroph.
heterotroph. You know, the both are combining together, marriage each other, and they are living together. The lichen symbiosis association is the idealistic marriage. It is the idealistic marriage in between the algae and fungi. We all know very well. It is the idealistic marriage. Who said it as an idealistic marriage? Do you have an idea? Who said? Sledner. No. Theophrastus is said the lichens. Lichens means it is a leprous. The Greek leprous. That means kushtu vyadhi antama. Leprous. How the leprous person's skin, how it folded, how it molded and folded, an uneven structure. That uneven folded structure, like structure. That's why the Theophrastus given the name it as lichen. Lichen means the leprous like structure. And also which we use, the lichens which we use in the treatment of leprosy. In the leprosy treatment also we use this lichen. The lichens have very much lot of usages which having. Lichens are the natural farmers. The natural farmers. These are natural farmers. Naturally, it melt the stone into soil. It convert the stone, hills, mountains into soil. That means it make it powder, make it crush powder. That capacity, that hardness is there to the lichens. The very, very important is having the lechnoric acid. Due to that lechnoric acid, it melt the stones, rocks, mountains, and it convert into the soil. Because of the lichens only, we could able to see the trees, plants, herbs, shrubs in the mountain, hill areas. Otherwise, there is no plant which we can't see on hills, mountains, wherever in the rock area. We could able to find all the trees on hill, mountain. That is because of lichen. The lichen, these are the pioneers. These are the pioneers, the first living organism on the rock. In the zero seed, the zero seed, hydro seed, the zero seed, that means it starts cereal. The cereal stages, it starts in the rock or desert area where there is no water area. Like that, it starts living on the rocks and it occupies the rock areas and it so that it melt. It release the lechnoric acid so that it will be form the soil, thin layer of the soil. At that area, the remaining whatever the living organism will be stopped. Origin. So that whatever the seeds or whatever it is, either bryophytes, mosses or pteridophytes or fans, whatever it is, it fell on that, automatically it will be germinate because of it forms the soil. You know, who is the father of lichenology? Lichenology, father of lichenology is Eric Ecorius. He is a Swedish botanist. He studied elaborately, broadly about the lichens. He found out so many lichens in different habitats, various habitats, not only on the rock, not only on the plant. He is the father of lichenology. Who is the father of lichenology? Eric
Ecorius.
Ecorius. Eric Ecorius is the father of lichenology. You know, who is the father of our Indian lichenology? In our India also, the one of the biggest, prominent, highly valuable, prestigious institute is there to study about the lichen in our India. Do you have any idea, anyone, where it is? Where it is located? Where it is located? Do you have any idea? Do you have any
No,
idea where
sir.
it is located?
No, sir.
It is in Lucknow, NBRI, Lucknow, National Botanical Research Institute. National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. There, the Lichenology Institute is the separate lichenology branch is there that is established by Avasti. Didi Avasti. Didi Avasti first established the lichenology laboratory in NBRI, National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. There, the lot of research work is going on the lichen. He has written so many books. He identified 200 above lichens in our India and Sri Lanka. India and Sri Lanka, he identified various lichens. That's why he first established the laboratory of the lichen study in the Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. That's why we calling him as a father of father of
Indian.
Indian
Indian
lichenology.
Indian
lichenology.
lichenology.
Yes, father of Indian lichenology is Avasti. There we visited Lichenology Research Institute. We have seen lot of various type of the lichens and their habitat. We and Kumar sir also, we both are visited. The 3 days we are there at the Lucknow Lichenology Research Institute. The very good knowledge we can get from there. We have seen lot varieties of the lichen which are there in various places which are collected and prepared a herbarium. Okay, you know, actually Theopros is given the name, it has a lichen because of the leprous-like structure. And the Swedner said it is a lichens having the dual nature. What it is? Dual, not the single. Algae and fungi. Autotroph and heterotroph. Both the trophic levels are there. Autotrophic and heterotroph. Both are associating with each other. And one more very recent study, lichens are not only the dual, only two, it having the three. It having the three, three combinations, which are there. He said, the Swedner said only two, one algae and one fungi. Okay, algae as a photobiont or whatever the algae which are associated that as a photobiont or picobiont. That means it do the photosynthesis, it produce the food, it synthesize the food, and it store the food material. Which one? Algae. And whereas the fungi depend upon the algae for their nutrition. Depending upon the algae for their nutrition. You see here, this is we calling it as idealistic marriage. Who said it as idealistic marriage? Swedner.
Right.
Idealistic marriage. That means algae as like a wife, fungi as like a husband. Husband and wife relationship. Same as in the family. Like the algae and fungi which having the association as like a family. The algae which produce the food, which synthesize the food, which supply the food to the fungi. Fungi, it take the food from the algae and it do the reproduction and it multiply their fungal spores and it multiply the fungal generation. Multiply the fungal generation, not the algal generation. Algae only for the production of the food. But whereas the fungi, it multiplying their own generation. Only fungi will do the reproduction. Algae will supply the nutrition. There is a mutualistic understanding between these two. That's why we also call it as mutualism. We also call it as mutualism. Physiology of the lichens. In the physiology of lichens, we discuss it as there is the mutualism. Mutually understand between each other. Mutually understand with each other. One is producing the food, one is doing the reproduction. But whereas here, fungi giving the substrate. Fungi giving the substrate to grow the algae, to survive the algae. Otherwise, the algae will grow only in water, humid, moisture area only. But the fungi which are giving the substrate to grow the algae. From that algae, fungi is taking the food, observing the food. From the hostel, observing the food and it nourish and it doing the reproduction and it's releasing the spores. That releasing spores again forming the new upstream. Okay. And then where you can see over here again and again, we have to close up for this. You can see here where see who is that? Scribbelli and McCutcheon in the 2016 identified one more fungi. That means one algae and two fungi. One algae and two fungi, three are there. This also you should know. We always still in all our books, we are studying only dual nature. Only one algae, one fungi. But it is advanced one. Not only one algae, one fungi, one algae plus
Two fungi.
two fungi.
Two fungi.
Yes, one algae, two fungi which are associated. Firstly, discovered by Scribbelli and McCutcheon. Scribbelli is a normal student. Actually, he's not at all a scientist, but he could able to know by differential staining technique. By differential staining technique, he could identify third association that the yeast, some of the Basidiomycetes, not Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes yeast, some of them also there. Due to that only, it could able to survive. Lichens we can't grow artificially. Lichens will grow only in the very sensitive areas. Very sensitive areas. Whenever the fungi are associated with the algae, whenever the fungi are associated with algae, then only it will be combined together and it form the special structure with algae, thallus and fungal filament. Algae, thallus and fungal filament. Here the algae, in the association algae, we call it as pycobion. Fungi, we call it as mycobion. Pycobion plus mycobion. Pycobion and mycobion. Two mycobions are there. One is the yeast. Majority of the algae, pycobions, majority of the algae, pycobions are where the eraser? Okay. Majority algae, phycobionts are blue-green algae. Cyanophyceae. You know cyanophyceae, cyanobacteria. Blue-green algae. That blue-green algae are major one. That we also call a photobiont. Photobiont, which is doing the photosynthesis in the biont, in the dual nature, is doing the photosynthesis. In the so many exams also they ask which is the major group of the algae in the phycobiont, Cyanophyceae, which is the major algae, major species in the phycobiont, Nasta and Nasta and here it is there. You could not able to see this. Are you able to see this?
No, sir.
No, you could not able to see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
you see here. Traboxia and Nasta. Traboxia and Nasta. These two are major algal species which are present in the where? At your home? In your home?
Moist places. Moist places.
In the biont. Okay. In the biont. Not only moist places. It will grow on the rocks, on trees, even on the glass bottles, even on the coal ice, even on the very drought areas, even on the sand. Everywhere it will grow. We will study the habitat. Various types of the habitats are there. That also important question. Habitat. Types of the lichens based upon the habitat. Okay, that is a major, very important question in your examination point of view. And also, lichen classification is very, very important question. That also we will discuss. Classification of algae based upon habitat, based upon the association, based upon the Thallus structure. Three type of the classifications are there. Okay, that we will discuss. And also, these are the most important question, short answer. Write about the relationship of the algae and fungi in the lichen. This is also one of the important questions. Relationship. What type of the relationship it is? It is a dual nature. Okay. It is a three type of the relationships are there in the lichen. One is symbiotism, mutualism, parasitism. Symbiotism, mutualism,
Parasitism.
That means controlled parasitism, not full parasitism. Control. It will be in the control. Though it is a parasite, it will not kill the algae. It will not kill the host. Whereas in the other parasitism, parasite kill the host. But here, it is not killing. That's why we call it as control parasitism. Usually, majority are symbionts. If they are helping each other, mutually they are helping. For the substrate, for the place, algae depending upon the fungi. For the nutrition purpose, fungi depending upon algae. Okay, have you understood? This is the relationship between the algae and fungi. Here in the algae, we call it as phycobiont. Fungi, we call it as mycobiont. These dual nature first identified by Swedner. This much enough for the 5 marks. Okay, you have to write this only. That is the short answer. That will come in your exam also. Okay. Relationship between the algae and fungi in the lichen. Okay, have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your examination point of view, I have to say. I think in the class also you said examination point of view only. Huh? Okay, you see, even examination, along with the examination point of view, I will also elaborate your knowledge, enlighten some little bit of the subject also. Okay, that should know as a botanist, as you have studied PG, you should know at least some little bit that I will include here. Okay, you see in the green algae Traboxia, in the Cyanophyceae Nasta. These two are the major 90%. 90% of the lichens are associated with these two. In the relationship, you also have to add this point. Majority of the algae are Traboxia and Nostoc. Majority of the fungi are Ascomycotin and Pseudomycotin. Majority of the fungal group associated in the lichens are which fungal group? Ascomycotin and
Basidiomycotin.
yeah, these two, Ascomycotin and Basidiomycotin. These two are major fungal group, that means mycobiome. And Chlorophyceae and Cyanophyceae are major phycobiome. This much answer is enough for the 5 marks. Okay. These having the 3 type of the relation: symbiotism, mutualism, and control parasitism. These are dual nature. Is having the algae and fungi. Okay. Algae giving the supplying the food to the fungi. Fungi giving the substrate, place to survive. Okay. These are the points. Majority of the algae are chlorophytes and cyanophytes. Majority of the fungi are Ascomycotin and
Basidiomycotin.
Mycotin. Okay. That we call as mycobiome. Mycobiome. You know, some of the Deuteromycotina fungi also, imperfect fungi, dustbin fungi, also associated. But there is no Myxomycotina. So many exams they ask. Myxomycotina is absent in the lichen. Okay. No Myxomycotina fungi associated with the algae in the formation of lichen. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is the one of the short answer. The very important question. It will come. Sure, definitely. Okay. And then substrate, habitat. We will go for the habitat. Okay. Various type of the habitat, where it grows. Okay. These all we will because we have the less time. Where it is? Okay. Yeah. You can see the types based upon the thallus structure. Based upon the thallus structure, various type of the lichens are there. Based upon the how the thallus, based upon the thallus structure, there are various types are there that you can see. Could you able to see this one? Which one you are seeing now? Okay, this one. Okay, you can see various types based upon the thallus structure, thallus organization. You know the question. One of the question is write about the thallus organization in the lichen. Thallus organization in the lichen. How the thallus organized? Thallus. Why we are calling it as a thallus? It looking like a mat-like structure. There is no root, stem, leaf. You know, algae having no root, stem, leaf, or root, and fungi also having no root, stem, leaf. These two are thallophytes. Two thallophytes which combine together and it forming the different thallus. That's why we are calling it as lichens also. Lichen plant also we are calling it as thallus. You know, the lichens, we having the various names for the lichen that we have to know. You should know it is. You should know. Otherwise, you feel. You should know the lichens name. You know, the lichen. In the Sanskrit, you know what we call it as? In the Sanskrit. In the Sanskrit, what we call?
No, sir.
Don't you know? అయ్యో మీరు బిర్యానీలు వేస్తారా? బిర్యానీలు వేస్తాం దీన్ని తెలుసా? లైకెన్ పత్తర్క పూల్, రాతి పువ్వు, పత్తర్క పూల్, చెరిలా, కైపు, పత్తర్క పూల్. These are the lichens, you know, for the taste. We use these lichens in the biryani. Fried rice, biryani, we use this lichen. Without knowing, we are using the lichen for the taste, flavor, for the digestion. You know, we use the lichen for the easy digestion of any protein. That's why we use the lichen in the biryani and non-veg, chicken, mutton, whatever it is in the non-veg and biryani. We use the pattarkapul, rati puvu, chila pushpa. You know the stylaja. In the Sanskrit, we call it as stylaja. Huh? We calling it as stylaja, rati puvu.
Shailaja.
Stylaja పేరు ఉంటే stylaja అంటే lichen. Stylaja means like shila means stone. It's surviving on the stone. That's why stylaja. It's growing. It is upon the stone. That's why we calling it as stylaja. Stylaja means stone. It's growing on stone. That's why we calling it as
Stone flower.
Stylaja. In the Sanskrit, stylaja. In English, stone flower. Okay. In the Telugu, rati puvu. Okay. And also in the Urdu, Hindi, pattarkapul. Okay.
Okay.
That we use for the fragrance and the smell, taste, and also for the digestion, easy digestion. Easy digestion, we use the pattarkapul, lichen. ఇంకోసారి ఎప్పుడైనా పత్తరకపూలు తీసుకున్నప్పుడు లైకేన్స్ అని చెప్పండి, మీకు మీ పిల్లలకి ఎవరికైనా చెప్పండి. అది లైకేను ఇట్లా ఆల్జే పంగే కలిసి పెరుగుతుంది అని చెప్పండి. ఓకే. యాజ్ ఏ బాటనిస్ట్, ఇఫ్ యూ సే దే ఫీల్ ప్రౌడ్, దే నో వెరీ వెల్. We don't know. They feel we don't know. They only know because they studied the botany. Okay. Because you are studying the botany, whenever you are doing the biryani, whenever you are pouring that, you say it as
Shailaja is using.
Shailaja. Okay. We are pouring the Shailaja in the mutton chicken biryani. Okay. That's the greatness of the lichen. That having the, you know, the most of the lichen we also use in the creams, lotions. మీ ఫేస్ టాన్ మొత్తం పోవాలంటే, మీరు ఎండలో పోయినా కూడా మీ ముఖం నిగనిగలు ఆడాలంటే ఒక క్రీమ్ ఉంది కదా, అది లోరియల్. Yes, a L'Oreal cream is preparing from the lichens, Laronia lichen. Laronia lichen. From the Laronia lichen, that cream is being prepared. If you apply that cream, even in the hot sun, your face will not be tan and will not be lost the glow. Even in the evening also you will be in the glow, shine and glow. That because of that is preparing from the lichen. Lichen that having that stability, resistant to the sunlight, to the heat. It having the highly resistant. Lichens having the highly resistant to the sunlight. That's why that using in the creams, lotions. Okay. That we will discuss in the economic importance. That also essay question. Economic importance of the lichen and ecological importance of the lichen. That is the essay question. Okay. And Thallus organization also essay question. From these three, any one question will come definitely in your exam. One essay. And what I told you, short answer also I told you now. Short answer also I told you, which is relationship
between algae and fungi.
In the lichen. And one more short answer, what I told?
Habitats of lichen.
Habitat.
Habitat. Based upon the habitat.
Lichen classification.
Application.
Classifications.
Classification. Second, Thallus.
Yeah, Thallus. Based upon the Thallus only. Okay. Based upon the Thallus, we named it as crustose lichen. What it is? Crustose. Crust. That means very thin layer. Very thin. మన పూత రేకులంత సన్నగా ఉంటాయి. Very thin layer. It forms the thin layer upon the stone. rock. Stones, rocks, or whatever it is, either tree, bark, wherever it is, it forms a very thin, cultured. We can't peel out. We can't peel out it from the rock. It will break. పూతరేకులు ఎంత సన్నగా ఉంటాయి, వెరీ థిన్. సేమ్ యాజ్ లైక్ దట్, ఇట్ having the only 10 mm
Sir,
size.
long answers, can you please repeat again? Long answers, important questions.
Ecological important of lichens.
Long answers.
We'll discuss that also we will discuss. Don't worry.
Don't disturb me between the
Don't
class.
worry. That questions only I will. Okay. That important question answers only I will. Okay. The Thallus organization also essay question it is. These are the 8 types of the Thallus are there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see here the 8 types based upon the Thallus organization. How the Thallus. Okay. Okay. You see the crustose lichen, the first one. First one is the crustose lichen. It forms the very thin layer upon the rock. Very thin layer upon the rock. That is the crustose lichen. And the second one is foliose lichen. Second one is foliose. You see the for the crustose lichens, Lecannoria is the example. For the foliose lichen, you see Palmaria, you know the dog lichen, that we call it as dog lichen. Why we calling it dog lichen? It look like a dog, huh?
No.
No,
It
no,
grows horizontally.
no. This will use for the dog bite, rabies. Rabies, dog bite,
Rabbits,
hydrophobia.
Dog bite. Okay.
Rabbit. Yes.
Phobia. You know
Vaccine.
hydrophobia, rabies, dog bite. Kuka
Dog
kaatuki. Dog bite. We use this as a medicine.
Okay.
These folios lichen, Palmaria. That's why we call it as
Dog like.
Dog lichen.
Doggies.
and fruticose lichens, fruit body like structure. Third one is fruticose,
Like.
fruit body like structure. Fruticose lichen. Here it is a leaf like structure. That's why foliose. Foliose means leaf.
Leaf.
Leaf like structure. Foliose lichen. Fruiting body like structure. That's why fruticose lichen. Fruticose lichen. Foliose, crustose, foliose, fruticose.
Fruticose.
Okay. And
Leprose like
you read out.
Leprose like it.
Squamulous.
It means
Filamentous lichen.
how the leprous diseased skin, like the leprous diseased skin like structure, uneven shape, folded shape structure. That's why we call it as leprose lichen. Leprose lichen. And the next is
Like
gelatinous.
gelatinous.
You might have seen on the bark and trees or stones. Now and then there is a ooze, water juicy like structure that is coming out from the rock or wood or tree bark. That because of the lichen. That gelatinous juicy like structure, gelatinous structure. ముద్దలాగా ఉంటుంటుంది. Gelatinous structure. Gelatinous juice laga, gel laga ఉంటుంది. Gel like structure. That's why we calling it as gelatinous. And then you can see the squamulose. What it is? Squamulose. Erect branch like structure. Straight, erect branches like structure. Rod shape structure. You see the rod shape, erect branched structure. The rod, squam means erect rod. Straight rod. Straight rod like structures are there. That's why we call it as squamulose. What we calling as spamulose lichen. And then the next is
Filamentous lichen.
next is
Filamentous.
Yes.
Filamentous lichens.
filamentous. Yes, as like a fungal filament. You know, fungal filament we call it as hyphae. Hyphae network we call it as mycelium.
Celium.
Yeah,
Rhizopus.
but that mycelium rhizopus are same as like bread mold, black mold, like structure. Same as like a fungal filament like structure. As like fungal filament like structure. That's why we call it as filamentous lichen. Filamentous lichen. And the sixth one is read out.
Lichen.
Sixth one is
Lichen with no
Visible
visible
thallus.
thallus. Gelatinous.
visible.
Gelatinous lichens.
No. Lichens with no visible. Eighth one.
Okay.
Last one. Last one. Okay. That the thallus we can't see thallus as like a stone. There is no special color, special structure. It as like as a stone. Whenever we pour the special indicators or blue color, then only we can identify it as a, here it is a lichen. Otherwise, we can't identify with our naked eye. Here and there, some of the tufts, fruit bodies, that fruit bodies only with that fruit body, whenever it is in the fruiting stage. But in the earlier stage, in the vegetative stage, we can't find it as a lichen. Fruiting body stage, reproductive stage, we can say it as a lichen. You see here and there the fruit like structure. Folded structures are there, na? Here and there. There are not.
Yes,
Here
sir.
you can see here and there folded structure. The folded structure, with that folded structure only, whenever it is in the fruiting stage, we can identify it as a lichen. Otherwise, we can't identify it as a lichen. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Okay, sir.
This is the most important question. Thallus organization. Okay. Thallus organization, the lichen. There are the types, various types of the. These we will discuss. Okay. You see, the crustose lichen. This is the foliose lichen. Okay. Here you can see the crustose lichen. How it is. And you can see the foliose lichen. How it look like a leaf-like structure. The internal structure also. You
Yes,
see
yes.
how it look like. You know, these we call it as old man beard. Old man beard. Musalivani gaddam. That lichen we call it as old man beard. Usnea antam. USNEA. Usnea we call it as old man beard. Muslims ఎట్లా వేస్తారు ఇట్లా పొడుగ్గా గడ్డం వేస్తారు కదా
Yes, yes.
అట్లా ఉంటాయి సేమ్ యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ దట్స్ వై వి కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఓల్డ్ మ్యాన్ బియర్డ్
Old man beer.
ముసలివాడి గడ్డం ఓల్డ్ మ్యాన్ బియర్డ్
Beer.
that is there in the fruticose lichen. You see the fruticose lichen fruiting body like structure. You could see here the fruiting body like structure. That's why we calling it as
Fruticose.
fruticose lichen.
Fruticose.
Yes. This గడ్డం ఎట్లా వేలాడుతున్నట్టు ఎట్లా ఉంటుందో సేమ్ అట్లే ఉంటుంది అది ఉస్నియా ఓల్డ్ మ్యాన్ బియర్. Okay, old man beer that we use, that we use in the kidney failures. Okay, you see the spamulose lichen and then leprose lichen, leprosy like structure. If it is a jelly like structure, you see gelatinous, and you see filamentous like structure as like a bread mold, black mold, filament. Rhizopus mucorlide. Filamentous as like a fungi, and bestoid. That means విస్పీగా ఉంటుంది. దట్ మీన్ వెరీ స్మూత్ విస్పీగా ఉంటుంటుంది. దట్ స్మూత్ విస్పీ lichen we call as bestoid. And the next is structureless. I already told you now. Structureless. Only whenever it is in the fruiting stage, then only we can see. Otherwise, it looks like a normal place, normal stone. Okay. And one more short answer, very important question is special type of the structures in the lichen. Special structures are vegetative reproductive structures in the thallus. Special structure are vegetative reproductive structures in the thallus. That also one of the important question. What are the special structures in the lichen? Read out.
Breathing force.
Breathing force.
Breathing force, Cypella, Cystidia, Cephalodia, Turis. These are the special type of the structure which are there. These will be act as a vegetative reproductive part. Vegetative reproductive part. You see here the breathing force. How it is? The breathing force. You see it is growing on the bark, wood, tree. Here and there, what happened? Cells are died and it formed the empty space, and whatever the corner hyphae that are folded inside and it forms the porous space. That we call it as
Breathing pores.
From here, this space is absorb the air, oxygen. That's why breathing force. This also using as a breathing part to breathe in, to absorb the oxygen. Okay. For which organism oxygen is needed? For algae, not for fungi. Algae, it needed more oxygen than the fungi. Okay. And the next one is read out which one it is. What it is?
Cyphallena.
Cyphalae. You see at the lower part of the lichen, lower part. You see the upper part. This is the lower part. Okay. In the lower part of the thallus, they folded inside and it sinked and folded and it forming the empty space at the lower side where it attached to the substrate, either stone or bark, tree, whatever it is. Okay, we have to study based upon the habitat also we have to study now before that, so that we have an idea. Okay, we will. This is very important. What is the lower side of the thallus, not the upper side, lower side of the thallus, filaments which are folded inside and sinked. Folded inside and sink. That part we are calling it as
Cephalodia.
Okay. What it is? Cephalodia. And then next is what it is?
Isthidium.
What it is? Read out loudly.
Medulla.
Oxidium.
Isthidium means bar. Bar means bar, rod. This you see here some of the fungal filaments which are erect and it form the bar shape. Bar subsonia, bar shape, polysaid tissues, bar shape structure. That there all the fungal spores will be preserved here. Fungal spores are preserved here. It forms the spore sac-like structure. The fully loaded with the spores in the erected branches. That we calling it as Isthidium. This will be acting as a vegetative reproductive organ. This will be acting as a vegetative reproductive organ. That porous part, whenever it is detached, this porous part, if it may detach, these spores will germinate and it form the new offspring. Okay. And the next one is what it is?
Medulla.
Ah,
మరి
Cephaloria.
Cephalodia.
okay.
Cephalodia. Here you see the saucer shape structure. Bowl shape, saucer shape structure. That we call it as Cephalodia.
Cephaloria.
That we call it as Cephalodia. The upper portion, upper cortex part, it's so swollen. The swollen part also will be loaded with the fungal spores. Will be loaded with the, these are the fungal spores, loaded with the fungal spores. These also will be act as a vegetative reproductive organ, vegetative reproductive part. Whenever these Cephalodia also may detach, this will become the new lichen. Okay. Okay, have you understood? And this one is, this one is
Sorelia.
Soridium. This one is Soridium. That means the
Sorelia.
fungal spores are bounded with the algae. You see, whatever the algae is there, that algae folded with the fungi, not fungi folded with algae. Algae, if the algae is there, algal thallus is there, that algal thallus folded with the
Fungus.
fungal filament. Folded with the fungal filament. So that it will be protect. Which one will be protect? Algae. Algae will be protected by the fungal filaments from the atmosphere, environmental condition, dry condition. That is called as
Sorelia.
Soridium. These are the special type of the structure. You have to write about these 5 type of the structure. Side heading, breathing force, cypella, cephalodia, Istidia, Soridium. These 5 you have to write. Okay? These 5 diagrams, rough diagram, and you have to write 2 to 3 points about each one. Okay?
Okay.
Okay? And then this is the one of the most important question. And then next we will go for the next important question. Then all the study. Okay? Breathing force. You see cypella, how it is, the cypella, and how it is Istidia, and how it is Cephalodia,
Lodia.
and how it is Soridia. You see how the folded fungi on the lichen. Okay, you see Soridia, these all are there, we already studied. And the habitat we have to study now. Actually, habitat we have not studied. Habitat, where it goes, based upon the habitat. Which one here? This is not. Okay. I will go for another one. Could you able to see this? Okay. Where? You could see the different habitat where it grows. Grows on rock. Based upon the habitat, various types are there now. What are those? What are those? Could you? Based upon the habitat. Toxicolas, terricolas, verticolas. Have you not seen? You see here. Here these all are. You can see how many types which are. These also short answer, very important question. Based upon the habitat. Based upon the habitat. How many types are there? Read out this all. Fast. How many types are there? Fast, read out.
Axicolas.
Toxicolas,
Terricolas, Lipicolas,
epilithic, endolithic,
Monolithic.
endophyloid,
Folicolous lichens, umbilicate lichens, vagrant lichens,
vitricolous lichens.
freshwater
These are
lichens.
the various type of the lichen based upon the habitat. Okay, like based upon the habitat, lichens are classified into these groups that you have to write, and one line for each, same as like this. You have to write.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Lichens are classified into these groups based upon
Habitat.
habitat, where it grows, based upon the growing area. Based upon the growing area.
Growing area.
If it is grow on rock, that we call as toxicolous. Okay. If it is growing on
Rocks.
bark, wood,
Barks of tree.
wood,
Trunk.
tree, bark.
Yes.
Box.
Bark. Okay.
Okay, sir.
If it is growing on bark, tree, bark, that we call it as corticolous. If it is growing on land, soil, that is terricolous. Okay. If it is growing on peel out bark, that means peel out wood. That means without epidermis.
Lignicolous.
That means lignicolous. With the if it is growing on the bark, upper layer bark వస్తుంది కదా, మనకి పీల్ వస్తుంది కదా కర్రలకి అన్నిటికీ పైన తోలు అంటామా, పైన వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా bark, epidermis.
Epidermis.
Pelloderm, we call it as pelloderm. Pellum, called as periderm. పరిచర్మము అంటాం కదా, all three dicots. If it is growing on that periderm, that is terricolous. After removing of the bark, even on the wood, if it is grow, that is lignicolous. Okay. And epilithic means
Crystals that grow on rocks.
Grow on rocks. Yes, it's grown on rock as a crust, very thin layer, as like a ఏమంటాం పూతరేకుల్లాగా. And next is
Endolithic.
endolithic means inside the rock. Within the rock. If pitted space is there in the rock, that pitted space on the rock, or in between the two rock spaces, it grows. Okay, that is, and then
Endophytic lichens.
that means
Immersed inside plant tissues.
Whatever the plant tissues, inside the plant tissues, just below the epidermis. Okay. And then polycolous, if it is growing on the leaf. If it is growing on the leaf, that is polycolous. Okay. Next, read out fast.
Umbilicate lichen.
Screen. Foliage lichens that are attached to the substrate at only one point.
Yes. That means this lichen is totally not attached to the substrate. It attached as like an umbrella.
Okay. Only one point.
It attached as like only one part, and one specific part will attach. Remaining part will be in the pendulous. Open as like an umbrella. Umbrella stick. Okay. And then vagrant. That means
These are not
attached
to the substrate.
that lives in the field.
In the
Brown
around with wind.
yes.
These are not attached.
Where usually these are all grown in the sand. Isuka. Viticolous that grown in glass bottles, glasses and bottles. You can see these all in the glasses and bottles. Here I show you. Where? Oh, here only it is there. Okay. Here you can see. You see what it is? First one.
Taxicolous.
That grown on rock. Okay. Terricolous, which is growing on bark.
Okay.
Corticolous. Corticolous, which is growing on
Tree trunks. Tree trunks.
And lignicolous, growing on soil. No. Bark,
Growing
peel out,
ground.
peel out wood. And then this
Follicular.
Colors.
one, it is growing on leaves, you see,
Okay.
lichens on the leaf.
Hmm.
And
Fresh
freshwater algae
water.
also. In the
Freshwater
ocean,
lichen.
freshwater algae, some of the freshwater ponds, lakes also having the lichen. And marine algae, marine lichen.
Symmetrical.
And viticulture, you see on the bottle, beer bottle, beer brand whiskey, whatever the bottle, upon the bottle, lichens are also growing. That habitat, even the glass also it is growing speciality on the glass. Okay, these are the types. That is the major, one of the important question. Okay, and then we will go nature of dual nature of the substrate already over. Symbioticism, parasitism, commensalism, mutualism. That already over. You see the lichens types also over based upon the structure. Crustose, foliose, fruticose, squamulose. These also important question. And then next is the internal structure of the lichens also important question. Internal structure. Okay. Internal structure of the lichen. How it look like? Just till now we have seen only upper. How it is, how look like, where it grows, that we are studying. Yes. But internal structure also very, very important. That internal structure, we can see these diagram you have to draw. These diagram you have to draw. Whenever how the internal structure of the lichen, you have to draw this diagram. Okay. You see it having the usually four. Okay. 5 parts are there. What are those? Upper cortex,
Cortex.
upper side cortex, and lower cortex. Okay. This is the upper cortex. This is the lower cortex.
Lower cortex.
Okay. And then
Algae.
Algae. Synovium.
just below the upper cortex, the
Algae.
thin layer which are occupied with the algae.
Algae.
Only this much part of the part only associated with algae. Remaining all 90% of the part filled with the
Algae.
algae. Only this 10 to 20%. 10 to 20% only algae. This part only. Okay. This algal zone, we call it as algal zone or autotrophic zone. Autotrophic zone or algal zone. Okay, in so many competitive exams, I thought which one is the autotrophic zone is filled with algae. Okay, you see upper cortex and lower cortex is all filled with the only fungal filament, fungi filament. Cortex, if it is form the net-like structure, like mycelial-like structure, that we call it as cortex. Here you see net-like structure, lower side and upper side. Lower side means where it attached to the substratum, that is lower side. Upper side means where we see the lichen, that is the upper side. Okay. Upper cortex and lower cortex. And algal zone, the middle loose coiled mycelia type A. The tightly coiled one is the cortex. Loose coiled type A mycelium structure is called as medulla. Okay, have you understood? Tightly coiled mycelium structure is cortex. These two sides are there to overcome the stress, to maintain the heat, to have a heat resistant layer and thermostatic layer. These form thick coats that are cortex, upper and lower side. Okay. And at the middle is loosely coiled, loosely woven mycelia, that is medulla. Okay. And in between that, only 10 to 20% zone occupied with the
Radanta.
algae.
Algae.
Occupied with the algae. That is called as Algal zone.
Algal
These
zone.
algal zones, it produce the food. It do perform the photosynthesis. It produce the synthesize the carbohydrates, glucose. That glucose will be absorbed by the fungi. It do the reproduction. It perform the reproduction. It form the spore. That spore release and it form the new fungi, not the new algae. Algae will not perform the reproduction. Only fungi will perform the
Reproduction.
reproduction in the lichen. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then here you can see how the beautiful structure it is. You see, here is the algal zone, the remaining upper cortex, lower cortex, medulla, algal zone. Only 4 zones. The lower side, this structure we call a raphe. That means trichome-like structure. Trichomes-like structure to absorb, to attach to the substrate. To absorb and also to attach the substratum, raphe-like structures are there. Okay. This is the internal structure. You have to draw this diagram. The internal, based upon the internal structure, lichens are divided into 2 that are homoimerous. Which one it is? Homoimerous. Second one is heteroimerous. Homoimerous and heteroimerous. Here you can see. Here, where it is? Here you can see this one. Could you able to see this one? Homoimerous and heteroimerous. Okay. Homoimerous means the algae and fungi both are equal in the size, equal in the position. That is called as homoimerous. Homo, that means equal. Hetero means different. Heteroimerous means algae occupied only 10 to 20% area, but fungi occupy
80 to 90%.
80 to 90% area. You see, here this is the homoimerous. You see, have you seen this? This is the homoimerous. Here, algae and fungi both are equal. Here and there, algae are there, fungi are there. Both the sides, all the sides, algae, fungi are there. But whereas the heteroimerous, only 10 to 20% area occupied with algae. Remaining part, total 80 to 90% part occupied by
Fungal.
that is the heteroimerous. These 2 types are there. In the heteroimerous, 4 parts are there. Upper cortex, lower cortex, medulla, algal zone. That you have to write. Okay?
Okay.
That is the question that you have to write for that question. Okay? And then we will go for the next reproduction. Okay? Reproduction is not that much important, but reproduction you have to study. Okay? Reproduction, in the reproduction, they may not ask all the reproduction. They may ask the fruiting body. Carpogonia, Pycnidia, like that they ask the question. Okay? Sexual reproduction, you can see what I told you. Which are the microbiome fungi associated with the lichen? Ascomycotin, Basidiomycotin. That's why fruiting body as like a ascomycotina. You know, in ascomycotin fruiting bodies we have studied Cystodicium, Perithecium, Apothecium, Sarcostoma. That 4 fruiting bodies we have studied in the fungi. We have studied fruiting bodies. Sexual fructifications we have studied. That 4 type of the fruiting bodies are available in this lichen because these are that ascomyces fungi. These are ascomyces fungi. That's why you know here in the fungi also you have studied same that you can write here. Fruiting body like structure. Cystodicium means round, sporular, hard-coated fruiting body without pores. There is no space. Tightly caught. That is Cystodicium. Okay? Perithecium means it is open with only one porous space. Only one porous space. Yeah. Are you looking me? Could you able to see me? No one is there. Are
No,
you there?
sir. No. We are here only.
Okay. The simple porous fruiting body that having the only ostiole, one nose type structure. Nose pore ఉంటుంది కదా, ముక్కు రంధ్రం ఉంటుంది కదా, nose pore like. The remaining all are closed. That is
Host.
perithecium. What it is? Perithecium. Also called as pycnidium. Simple porous fruiting body with ostiole. Ostiole means single porous nose like structure. Okay. I will show you. See, you see it like this. Have you seen this? Could you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
This
Sir.
one. Simple
Sir.
porous ostiole. Simple porous structure. Remaining all closed. Thus we calling it as perithecium, also called as pycnidium. It having the fruiting body like this. Here inside this, it forms the spores. It forms the spores. That spores, whenever it release from the ostiole, these germinate and it forms the new, like it, new fungi. Here you see, here in the germination is spermatization type. You know, we have studied the sexual reproduction in the fungi. 5 types of sexual reproduction we have studied.
Okay.
What are those 5 types? Huh? Gamete, gametangial copulation, gametangial contact, spermatization, and in the basidium mycotin, how it is? There is no sexual organs, only mycelium will be folded. Primary mycelium, secondary mycelium, tertiary mycelium will be come out, that will be act as a, look like a mushroom, basidium. Okay, here you see these are the spermacium. Male part we calling it as spermagonium. This one, spermagonium, it release the sperms, that means male gamete. The female part we calling it as a pycnidium. Carpogonium. Female part we calling it as carpogonium. Male part, female part we calling it as carpogonium. You see here, the carpogonium. Male part we calling it as spermagonium. Spermagonium, it releases the spores, small size spores like sperms. That's why we call it as spermagonia. And carpogonia, it having the carpogonia, that means attaching structure. This type of the structure, it catch the sperms, it catch the male gamete. Here you can see trichogyne. That place we calling it as trichogyne. This trichogyne attract the male gamete and it taken it inside and it form the oogonia. That and it form the oogonia, and this fruiting body we calling it as pycnidium or perithecium. Like that, it forms the fruiting body. Here inside the fruiting body, the male and female gametes will fuse and it form the zygote, and it take the division and it form the half male and half female spore, 50-50% spore. That is the sexual reproduction in like it. Okay. And then this is the reproduction. The reproduction they not ask this much. Only either they ask the pycnidiospore or carpogonium. Okay. After fertilization, it forming the, I already told you, apothecium, saucer shaped fruiting body. Apothecium, saucer shaped fruiting body. సాసర్ బౌల్ లాగానే ఉంటుంది. హియర్ యు సీ అపోథీసియం అని అడుగుతాడు షార్ట్ ఆన్సర్, ఆ పిక్నీడియం అని అడుగుతాడు షార్ట్ ఆన్సర్. Pycnidium is a round, folded, thick coated fruiting body with simple ostiole. With simple ostiole. That is the pycnidium or perithecium. Okay. And apothecium is a saucer-shaped fruiting body which is forming ascomycetes fungi, which having the 4 parts, hymenium, 3 parts, subhymenium, exculum. What are those 3 parts? Hymenium. Where it is? Okay. Hymenium, where the reproductive organ, where the spore parts are there, that spore part we calling it as hymenium, petal part. Hymenium, petal part. And the second part is subhymenium. Second part is subhymenium. That means this in between the thallus, vegetative part, and reproductive part. In the hymenium, it having the basidial structure. You see the sac-like structure in the each ascospore, each ascus. How many? So many corporate exam they may ask. Each ascus, 8 ascospores are present. How many?
8.
So many corporate exam ask. In each ascus, 8 ascospores. In each basidium, 4 basidiospores. In the basidium, 4. In the ascus, 8.
8.
Okay. These where the spores are there, which is covered with the sac, that is called as petal pod. And where the vegetative thallus attached with the petal pod, that is called as subhymenium. And the remaining vegetative hyphae structure, these are all called as exculum. Vegetative thallus. Vegetative thallus, that is exculum. These 3 parts are there. These you have to write if they ask the question about the apothecium or the fruiting body of lichen. Okay, have you understood? And last, very most important question is importance of the lichen. Ecological importance and economic importance. Ecological and economic. Both are very, very important essay question. Compulsory, it will come. Compulsory question. Okay. That we will going to study, discuss. Okay, you see apothecium. Okay. Economic important essay question, very, very important question. Economic important. Before economic, we will go over ecological important. Okay. Ecological important. Ecologically, lichens are very, very important to form the new plants, to form the new greenery in the dry land or sand areas, in desert areas, where there is no water areas. Where there is no water, or in desert area, or in rock area, or mountain area, and hill area. If the plants growing means that stage is established by lichen. The first lichen, whenever it attach on the rock, sand, or whatever it is area, this occupy and this melt the sandstone hill areas into soil. It forms the light ground particles, soil as like a soil particle. That's why ecologically, first point you have to write, these are the natural farmers. First point, what you have to write? Natural farmers. Lichens are
Natural farmers.
natural farmers. Why? They start
Nitrate.
Establishment of the new plant. It melt the stone into soil. How the farmer will do? Farmer it flow, it loosen the soil before sowing any seed. Yes or not? Like that, here also the lichen, it loosen the rock area, it forming the soil upon the rock. మనం కొండలు గుట్టల పైన చెట్లు చూస్తాం, అవునా? మౌంటైన్స్, హిల్స్, అవన్నీ ఎట్లా పెరిగినాయి? మౌంటైన్స్ రాళ్ళ మీద అసలు పెరుగుతాయి ఆ చెట్లు? కాన్. బట్ ఇట్స్ గ్రోయింగ్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ lichen. Because of
Lichen.
lichen first occupied the stone rock hill area, and it melt the rock, stones, mountains into soil, powdery structure, into powdery structure. It is melting stone into soil, stone into soil. Stone ని soil గా మార్చేస్తాయి. That's why we call it as natural farmers. These are the second point is these are the pioneers. Pioneers, that means first organisms which grown on rock, desert area, no water area. These are the pioneers. What happened?
Sir, economic important slide పెట్టలేదు సార్.
Is ecological importance I am telling now.
ఎకలాజికల్ పెట్టలేదు.
పెట్టలేదు కానీ నేను చెప్తున్నాను అదేనమ్మా. యు సీ
స్లైడ్
ఇది ఫస్ట్ స్లైడ్ పెట్టలేదు కానీ చెప్తున్నాను కదా.
అవునా సార్, స్లైడ్ కూడా పెట్టండి సార్.
సరే, ఓకే. You see here, the second point I told you, pioneers. Okay, these are the pioneers of దేనికి పైన, దేనికి ప్రథమం, ఎక్కడ ఫస్ట్ ఇవి? which grown on rocks, hills, mountains, desert areas, no water areas, and it gets convert zero speed, zero poetic condition into zero to hydro or meso. That means the rock is melting, it is forming into soil. Okay, that's why these are the pioneers in the zero seed. We might have studied now hydro seed, zero seed, hydropite, geropite, mesopite. Okay, which one growing in desert area, rock area, that are called as geropite. That's why the lichens are also called as geropite. These all are ecological importance among. These all are not economic importance. Okay, ecologically these are molding, these are useful to form the soil, to melt the rock, and to form the new habitat, to create the new habitat to the plants, for the formation of new habitat, to form the next generation plant, higher plants. Where the lichens grown, that area is formed as a soil in between the rocks and mountain. That rocks and mountain area in between, the where the soil formed, there the trees, the shrubs, the herbs are growing. Otherwise, on rock, no tree plant will grow except lichen. Okay, these are the first 3 points. What are those? Pioneer, natural farmer, forming the new habitat. New habitat. The fourth point is these are the pollution indicators. These are the
పొల్యూషన్
pollution indicators. These are the very sensitive organ, though it's growing on rock, very tough, very hot. These are very sensitive to pollution. Very sensitive. Where there is a sulfur or ozone, where there is a more nitrogen. Sulfur, nitrogen, ozone. These 3, there no lichen will grow. We can see even in the cities, metro cities, no lichen will grow, because it indicates this area is a polluted area. If the lichens are growing, means that is very fresh, natural habitat.
Yes.
If you find any lichen in some area, some forest area, some open areas, that means that is unpolluted area. You can say this is unpolluted area by seeing lichen.
లైకెన్స్.
That's why these are the pollution indicators. Pollution
ఇండికేటర్స్.
indicator. It's indicate That means where the lichen is growing, if the lichen is growing, that indicates here there is no pollution.
Pollution.
Fresh environment.
Yes.
Here it is
Fresh
a fresh environment. That shows here it is a fresh environment. Okay.
Yes.
These all are economic important. Okay. You see, the pollution indicators. If it is growing lichens on the bark or rock, that it shows these are the fresh environment. Oh, where it is? Then for the rock. These all are okay. This is NBRA. I will tell you later. You see what we are studying here?
They grow in fresh environmental area.
Ecological importance of lichen. Pioneer, natural farmers, habitat formation, and it also stop the erosion of the soil erosion. Where there is a lichens are occupied, that area will be protected. That soil, that mountain area, soil area will be protected from the erosion. Removing of the soil, upper layer, with the floods or with the wind or whatever it is. If the upper layer of the soil that is removing, that we call it as erosion. That erosion will be stopped by this lichen. It will be protecting as the umbrella. Protecting as a umbrella. It stops the soil erosion. To stop the soil erosion. Next point is to stop the soil erosion. Oh, where it is here? It stops the soil erosion. And then you see, these we can study the lichenometry. Study about the lichens is called as lichenology. Study about the lichens is called as lichenology. Father of lichens is Ecological. Study of the growth, development and growth of the age of the rock by observing the lichen is called as lichenometry. By observing the lichen, we can estimate the age of that stone, age of that rock, age of that mountain, age of that hill. To know the age, to know the past historical aspects and age of that rock, the lichens will be very useful. We can exactly estimate the age of that area. ఎంత కాలం క్రితము ఇక్కడ ఈ చెట్టు ఉండే how long back the tree is there here, how long back the hill, rock, mountain is here was there. That all we can exactly estimate by using the lichen. That we call as lichenometry. This is the one of the point in the ecological importance. Okay, and it also used to stabilize the what mean barren lands, alkaline lands, barren lands, sand ఏమంటామని ఒండు నేలలు, and where there is a ఏమంటాం అట్లాంటి సాయిల్స్ ని, that barren lands and alkaline soils will be converted into fertile land.
Soil can convert it
by converted it into as a fertile land by using this lichen. Okay, and also where it is, where okay, it grows on rock, it converts, and also it will be lichens. Yeah, It's a pH indicator. You know the where the is a alkaline soil or acidic soil. That also, you know, the litmus paper, pH paper. You know the pH paper, litmus
Yes.
paper.
Litmus.
pH test కోసం ఉపయోగిస్తాం pH paper, litmus paper. We call it as litmus paper.
Soil of nature.
What?
To know soil of nature.
pH of the soil or pH of the water, to know the pH level, whether it is alkaline or acidic or base. To know whether it is acid or base, we use the pH paper. That we call as litmus paper. That litmus paper is being prepared by using the lichen, Rosmus and Lecanora and Palmaria. These three lichens we are using to prepare the litmus paper, pH paper, to detect, to identify the exact pH level of that area, pH level of that water, pH level of that soil. Okay. And soil erosion, to stop the soil erosion, as a pH indicator, as a pioneer, as a natural farmer, as a formation of new habitat, for the formation of new habitat. Okay. For all these, we are using the lichen. Ecologically, these are very useful in this manner. Okay. These 8 aspects. In these 8 aspects, okay, we are using the
Lichens.
lichen. That are the ecological importance of
Lichens.
lichen. Okay. Ecological importance of lichen. And then next, economic importance of lichen is also very, very important. Economic importance. The lot of economic importance is there. Biryani, Patarika pool, dog bite, hydrophobia. For hydrophobia we use, and
cosmetics.
you know, as a food, first point is as a food we use the lichen. Food, as
Okay,
a food, food and fodder. Food and fodder. We use the lichens as a food and fodder. Fodder means pasukrasam, pashukuలకు దానాగా. You know the like
yes, sir, meta.
if you supply this fodder to the kettles or kettles or కోళ్ళకు కానీ పశువులకు కానీ దానాగా పెడితే, కోళ్ళకు పెట్టారంటే పెద్ద పెద్ద హెక్స్ ఇస్తాయి, హై న్యూట్రిషన్స్, హైలీ ప్రోటీనైజెస్ హెక్స్ ఇస్తాయి. This lichen as a food, and if you give it to the lichens to the kettle, it secretes the more milk. For the secretion of the more milk, we use the lichen powder. We use the lichen powder in the dana. పశువుల దానాలో lichen powder ను ఉపయోగిస్తే, that will be cause for the increase of the more secretion. More secretion. Okay. And you know, as a food, so many lichen, you know, the African people, African country people, and even some of the Rayalaseema people, they eat the lichen. They collect from the rock stone, they peel out rock, they cook and eat. Even not only all, we all are using the lichen as an ingredient in the food. Where? In the biryani. In the biryani as a patarka pool. Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Parmelia, ratibu, the parmelia and formularia, formella. These are we using as a patarka pool. ఎక్కడ పడితే అక్కడ బాగా ఎక్కువగా పెరిగేది మనకు పార్మేలియా, ఫార్ములేరియా. దీస్ టూ ఎక్కడ పడితే అక్కడ రాక్, కొంచెం రాక్ ఏరియా తడిగా ఉన్నది అంటే, మాయిశ్చర్ ఉన్నది అంటే, అక్కడ ఈజీగా వీ కెన్ ఫైండ్. have you ever gone any forest area, any tourist areas? You might have find these lichen. అప్పుడప్పుడు చెట్ల పైన కూడా చూసి ఉంటారు మీరు, చెట్ల బార్క్ కి గ్రీన్ కలర్, బ్రౌన్ కలర్ ప్యాచెస్ కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That all are
Yes, sir.
lichen. That all are lichen. Okay.
Only regulation.
And you know the lichens, it synthesize the nitrogen. Ecological importance it is. Lichens, it synthesize the nitrogen. You know the why? Algae is there now. Green algae, blue-green algae. The blue-green algae, it absorbs atmospheric nitrogen and it converts into ammonium nitrate.
Yes.
One of the ecological important it is.
Increase the nitrogen
Nitrification.
level in soil.
Nitrogen level in the where
Soil.
the lichens are there, soil.
Yes. Okay.
To increase.
Nitrification, sir.
What happened? Yeah.
No, saying nitrification, sir.
Nitrification, yes.
Yes.
The nitrification. Okay, as we already studied the blue-green algae and some of the rhizobium bacteria, these only observing the atmosphere nitrogen. Though 78% of the nitrogen is there in the atmosphere, any plant, any animal can't absorb. Only some microbes,
Traits and nitrites.
algae and microbes only will absorb.
Yes.
Not all. Okay. And then
Blue-green.
as a nitrogen fixation, the nitrification, and also pioneers, and also natural farmers. These all are ecological and economic. Is first is food. Have you
Food
noted
and
all the
fodder.
point? Have you noted all the ecological important? First
Yes,
one
sir.
is pioneers. Second one is natural farmers.
Yes, sir.
Third one is habitat formation. Habitat formation. And the
Soil
next is,
protection.
soil
Stop soil
protection.
erosion.
Stop the soil erosion.
The age
And
of
as a
rocks, we know.
Like econometry,
Fertile the land.
soil fertility in the soil
Increase the soil fertility.
soil moisturization of the soil.
Yes.
And also
Lichens are used as pH indicators.
pH indicator. These many are ecological important. Okay.
Yes.
And then we will go for the economic important. Okay. Economic important first as a food. Okay. So
Yes.
many citral area, dry area, palmel area, palmella, these all we use in the soups and salads, and also rajabubu in the biryani that we use as a food. Okay. And then the fodder for the cattle, animals, poultry. The lichens we use to increase the secretion, milk secretion and egg laying capacity. To increase the egg laying capacity and milk secretion. Okay. For that we use this. Okay. And then you can see perfume. I already told you. Perfumes. In the perfumes. Skin lotion, perfumes. I already told you na. Lavana. What? That we use. Lecanor.
Lori, sir.
Lori. That Lori face cream, beauty cream that prepared from the Lecanoria. Lecanoria lichen. Lecanoria, that is a stone lichen. From that, you see the various perfumes and also dyes. Dyes, మనకు ఎంతసేపటికి పోకుండా వెరీ హార్డ్ గా పట్టుకొని ఉండే డైస్. Dyes, we use this lichen in the
hair dyes.
hair dyes and whatever it is, damp proof paint. ఇప్పుడు డ్యామ్ ప్రూఫ్ పెయింట్స్ వాడుతున్నాం కదా మనం. డ్యామ్ ప్రూఫ్ పెయింట్ వర్షం వచ్చినా నీరు సింగకుండా, డ్యామేజ్ కాకుండా, పగుళ్ళు రాకుండా. That damp proof paints also mixing with the lichen. To stop the crackage, to stop the sinkage, and to protect from the overheat. We are using this lichen.
Yes, protect from overheat.
overheat and to stop the breaking, split to break, and to stop the sinkage. For all purposes, we are using.
Okay.
Okay, and then where it is? Oh, here we are. Okay, we have to go here. You see, the other food, powder, perfumes, and you see,
Paints.
earth flower, and also where? Ayo. Okay, I will show this video. Okay, this economic importance. As a food, I already told you. And as a powder, as a medicine, the so many. First, dog lichen, I told you now. Felt it.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Dog
sir.
lichen, hydrophobia, dog bite, which we use for the dog bite. The lichen, which we use for the dog bite, and also not only hydrophobia for the మనకు సన్స్ట్రోక్ వచ్చినప్పుడు సన్స్ట్రోక్ నుంచి ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేయడానికి పౌడర్ ని వాడతాం మనం ఓఆర్ఎస్ కాకుండా. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆల్సో సో మెనీ ఇన్ ఆయుర్వేద సిద్ధ మెడిసిన్ శైలజ పౌడర్ హోమియోపతిలో కానీ యునానిలో కానీ సిద్ధలో కానీ శైలజ పౌడర్ ఉంటుంది. దట్ శైలజ పౌడర్ వి యూజ్ ఫర్ ద as a coolant. ఓవర్ హీట్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు, బాడీలో ఓవర్ హీట్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు హీట్ తగ్గించుకోవడానికి, బాగా పగుళ్ళు వస్తుంటాయి కదా, కాళ్ళు స్కిన్ పగుళ్ళు, దానికి వాడే మెడిసిన్ శైలజ
పౌడర్.
ఆ శైలజ పౌడర్, ద శైలజ పౌడర్ దట్ మేక్ యువర్ బాడీ కూల్ అండ్ స్మూత్ గా చేస్తుంది స్కిన్ ని, అండ్ కూల్ గా చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ ఆల్సో wolf lichen, Latatia, wolf lichen that we use for the కోయవాళ్ళు ట్రైబ్స్ ది wolf lichen లో ముంచి ఆరోని పశువులని వేటాడడానికి ఉపయోగిస్తారు. ఆ wolf lichen అది ఉంటుంది కదా, ఎక్స్ట్రాక్ట్ కొత్త కట్టుకున్నది, అది యాక్ట్ లైక్ ఏ పాయిజన్. అది కుచ్చుకున్నదంటే అది స్పృహ తప్పి పడిపోతుంటుంది. ఇన్సోమ్నియా, అన్కాన్షియస్ వచ్చేస్తూ ఉంటుంది. అన్కాన్షియస్ కి మూర్చొచ్చి పడిపోవడానికి ఈ యొక్క లైకేన్ ని ఉపయోగిస్తాం. ఈవెన్ ఇన్సోమ్నియా పేషెంట్స్ కూడా వాడతాం. మూర్ఛ వ్యాధి రోగులకి, ఇన్సోమ్నియా పేషెంట్స్ కూడా ఈ లైకేన్ వాడతాం మనం. ఓకే, అండ్ అంపెల్లికేరియా లైకేన్ వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ ఇన్ ద HIV medicine. Ecological medicine. The lichen also protects the plant where it's growing. That plant will be protected from the diseases. Plant will be protected from the diseases. You see, whatever the lichen extract that we use to control the so many diseases. You see the tomato canker, citrus canker disease, గజ్జి తెగులు అంటామా, citrus canker disease, to control the citrus canker disease, tomato canker disease, and even tobacco mosaic disease, to control the tobacco mosaic disease. The water extract of lichen వాటర్ లో కలిపి జ్యూస్ చేసేసి దాన్ని మనం స్ప్రే చేసేస్తే these plant diseases will be controlled. Okay, even in the traditional medicine, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha also we use this. Okay, and so many antibacterial metabolism, this kill the bacteria also. And as a dyes, I already told you, in the dyes we use in the dyes. Okay, color preparation.
Yes.
I already told you, orchil, kadbir and orchil. This kadbir and orchil we use in the soups and salad. Have you ever kadbir ice cream? Kadbir salad also available in the restaurant. Kadbir, not beer. It looks like a pinkish color. pinkish color juice, that is a very coolant. You know the మనం ఈ జ్యూస్ తాగుతూ ఉంటాం కదా కూలెంట్ కోసం, రూట్స్ జ్యూస్ తాగుతాం కదా, ఏంటది?
బీట్రూట్ సార్
కూల్ కోసం అమ్మా అది. Okay, like that the cut beer also make your body cool, smooth and cool. Okay, not beer, cut beer. Beer కాదమ్మా, కట్ బీర్ అనుకునేది. ఓకే, కట్ బీర్. Or not drink the water. It is to know the pH level. And also the perfume, I already told you, Laurel, that perfume, different perfumes. You know the lichens which are growing on the stone, it will be resistant, very highly resistant to the environment. That's why that lichens we use in the perfume, lotion, skin lotion, to protect from the sunstroke, to protect from the sun rays, even hot stove, not hot heat stove, to prevent our skin even in the heavy sunlight, heavy heat. Okay, and then the lichenometry I already told you, and the biodegradation. In the biodegradation we use that means whatever the even to degrade the plastics also we use the lichen. And biodeterioration, to decompose the living organic matter, to decompose, to make it moisture, to make it split into small particles as a biodeterioration. Bio means we are using the living organism, lichen, to deteriorate, to decompose, to detach. We are using the lichen. That's why we call it as biodegradation and biodeterioration. And bioindicators, I already told you, bioindicators. Where there is a more oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen, there no lichen will grow. That's why we call it as lichen desert. All our cities are lichen desert. Lichen desert means no lichen will grow that area. All the cities which are highly polluted, that all are lichen deserts. You know the lichens will absorb heavy metal. Lichen will absorb heavy metal, lead, nickel, zinc, chromium, mercury, also. So that to extract the heavy metal, to take out the heavy metal from the any material, we use this lichen. You know, in the aesthetic appeal, you know the Australia, one of the parks that is fully covered with the lichen. అన్ని లైకెన్స్ వేలాడుతూ ఉంటుంటుంటాయి ఆ పార్క్ లో. You know the Yellowstone Park and even Yellowstone Park also, most of them are lichens, that are lichens. That's why the area will become yellowish, brownish. Yellowstone Park, because of orange color, yellow color lichens that occupy that area. That will be very ostracizing, very మనకు చూడడానికి చాలా బాగా కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది. Look very beauty and attractive, so that so many people will used to visit that area. And also in the tanning, breathing and tanning industry. Tanning industry also. Tanning industry means, you know the tanning industry?
Leather.
To take out the leather, skin from the dead bodies. You know, already I told you fungi bacteria we use in the tanning industry. ఇంతవరకు చెప్పా మీకు పంగే ఎకనామిక్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ పంగే చెప్పినప్పుడు చెప్పా. ట్యానింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ అని. ఇంకోటి ఫైబర్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో, ట్యానింగ్ ఇండస్ట్రీలో we use this lichen powder. Breeding I already told you, cut beer ఉంది కదా, cut beer preparation లో rocher cut beer, special type of juice. These are the preparation of these type of the beer we use. And in the religious purpose also, religious also, avans అంటామా, ధూప్ అవans. ముస్లిం ధూప్ అవans చేస్తారు తెలుసా? ధూప్ ఎంతమంది ఉన్నారమ్మా, వింటున్నారా లేదా?
వింటున్నాం సార్.
Winter sir, 20 members are here.
ధూప్ హవాన్ చేస్తారు కదా, నిప్పుల పైన చల్లగానే పొగ వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా, హవాన్స్. హవాన్స్ ధూప్ స్టిక్ ప్రిపరేషన్ లో కూడా లైకెన్స్ ఉపయోగిస్తాం.
ఓకే.
సాంబ్రాణిలో ఈ లైకెన్స్ ఉంటుంది తెలుసా? లైకెన్ మిక్స్డ్ స్టోన్, ఇట్ ఈస్ లైకెన్ క్రష్ చేసినటువంటి స్టోన్. లైకెన్ క్రష్డ్ స్టోన్ ఈ సాంబ్రాణి. సాంబ్రాణి అంటే కదా మనకు తెలుసు కదా, ఏదైనా మొత్తం పొగ వచ్చేస్తుంది. దట్ హవాన్స్ అండ్ ధూప్ ప్రిపరేషన్. లైకెన్ పౌడర్ ధూప్ గా వేస్తే మనకు ఈవెన్ మస్కిటోస్ రావు, మైక్రోబ్స్ కూడా పెరుగు అక్కడ. ఎనీ మైక్రోబ్స్ ఆల్సో విల్ డై. లైకెన్ పౌడర్ మనం ధూప్ గా అవాన్స్ గా వేస్తే all the microbes, whatever there is, any fungi, any bacteria in the moisture area, in our surrounding environment, that all will die. Make our environment full, healthy and fresh. These all are the economic important, and some harmful aspects also there, where some harmfulness also there with the lichen. Sometimes because of overgrowing of the lichen, that lichens, whenever with the wind, if it rush, then it start the fire.
Yes.
For the fire, forest fire, hill area, mountain area, appudu fire avutu untundi. That fire majorly because of the lichens. Otherwise, some worst fellows, dirty fellows, they may ఆగిపెట్టే అక్కడ వేసేస్తారు. బట్ న్యాచురల్లీ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద లైకెన్స్ ఇట్ విల్ బి హ్యాపెన్. ఓవర్ గ్రోయింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద లైకెన్, ఓవర్ గ్రోత్, fruticose lichen, fructose lichen. If one of other it rough and touch with other roughly, then it fire starts.
Yes.
And also it damage the buildings. If the lichens grow on the building, it causes for the crack. Okay. And the lichens will attack as a parasitic attack. Parasite. So suppose that means parasite means not on us. It parasite is upon mites, thrips, some of the insects. So that will be die. Okay. And then shading of the leaf. If it is growing on the leaf, it totally occupies the leaf area. Leaf area will not be exposed to sunlight. The photosynthesis will be less.
Decrease.
Okay. And these are the major types of the classification I already told you, based upon the habitat, based upon the thallus structure, based upon the association, whether which type of the fungi. 3 types are there: ascolichen, basidolichen, and deuterolichen. Okay. Based upon the internal structure, homoimerous and heteroimerous. These 3 are very important question. 1, 2, 3, and relationship 4. Okay. And these are the economic importance. One,
sir, based upon habitat, based upon thallus structure. One more, sir.
And relationship of the algae and fungi in the thallus.
Okay.
And dual nature of the lichen. And then internal structure of the lichen, and then economic importance of the
Economic
lichen,
and ecological
importance of the lichen. Okay, separate ecological importance. Next question may come, or economic importance. Okay.
Total 25 marks, sir.
Total
10 marks only.
Only 10
no,
marks.
compulsory one essay. One or 2 short answer will come from this topic. One essay means how many marks? 10 marks.
10 marks, sir.
10 marks.
Answer means 5 marks. 15 to 20 marks will cover from this topic.
ఓకే
Okay.
సార్ పీడిఎఫ్ షేర్ చేస్తారా గ్రూప్ కి?
పీడిఎఫ్ ఆల్రెడీ బుక్ లో ఉంది అమ్మ మనకు. ఇది బుక్ కు రాసిందే ఇది.
ఇందులో ఈజీగా ఉంది సార్.
ఇది బుక్ లో కూడా కొంచెం చేంజ్ చేసినాం అంతే. సేమ్ బుక్ చూడండి ఒక్కసారి, సేమ్ ఉంటుంది.
సార్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఆఫ్ లైకెన్ 1, ఎకలాజికల్ అండ్ ఎకనామికల్ 1 more సార్.
ఎకలాజికల్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఆర్ ఎకనామిక్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఎస్ఏ క్వశ్చన్.
ఓకే.
Thallus organization of the lichen essay question.
Okay.
Remaining all are short answers.
Okay.
Internal structure, relationship, based upon the classification of the lichen based upon habitat, and and dual nature of the lichen, and ఇంకేం చెప్పినా మనం అంతేనా?
అంతే.
These are very, very important question. From this compulsory one essay question will come, and 1 or 2 short answers will come.
Okay.
Okay. The compulsory. And in the next class tomorrow we will discuss the plant diseases. From that 2 essay question will come, 4 short answers will come.
Oh, okay, sir.
2 essay question, 4 short answers will come from the plant diseases. Disease on rice, disease on wheat, disease on sorghum, disease on sugarcane, disease on what it is, groundnut. Yeah, that 8 diseases are there. Of that, 2 diseases essay question will come. 2 questions.
Okay.
Essay, and 2 to 4 short answer will come.
Okay.
Okay, that is the last unit, last chapter of our first paper.
Okay, sir.
That is the last unit. With this, 3rd unit also completed. 4th unit we will discuss tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, this much
Thank
time.
you, sir.
Already almost
Yes.
hours.
8-2 అని చెప్పిండు.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Amma, all right.
Thank you. Good night, sir. Nagaraj, sir.
Okay, good night. Have a nice day. Have a nice. ఇంకా నైట్ డే లేదా, నైట్ అయిపోయిందా? ఓకే. Okay, then you once again you repeat at least 5 to 10 minutes so that you will remember for the long time.
Okay, sir.
Immediately after this class you repeat at least 10 minutes what topic we discussed. Okay, so that you will be remember, you can easily write in the exam. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Oh, nice. Thank you.
Good night, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank